a champion in boxing and sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Secret Society may be taking care of Gervonta Davis. Now, Gervonta Davis has a fight coming up against a guy named Lamont Roach. And I'm going to tell you, not even I could have anticipated Lamont Roach being identified as Gervonta Davis's next opponent. Nonetheless, it's here. A lot of people don't even know who Lamont Roach is. That's Gervonta Davis. Let's show you. Let me show you who Lamont Roach is. Okay, and this is Lamont Roach. Let me reduce the size of this for you. So that's Lamont Roach, okay? 25 wins, 10 by KO. He had one loss. His KO percentage is 40%. Not much for Tank to worry about there, but he can fight, and he does have a little pop. Nothing when compared to Gervonta Davis. He's standing 5'7", about 2 inches taller than Gervonta. Reach is 68. Gervonta's reach is about the same. Now, the thing about Lamont Roach, what people aren't understanding, because some people, even to this day, they don't understand how this fight came about. I'm going to tell you how it came about. It came about as a result of this win that Lamont Roach was able to achieve on June 28th of this year. Well, he was able to get a TKO victory against Fearguard McCrory. Now, McCrory was an undefeated fighter at the time, and you see he went and got him out of there. But in that fight, McCrory was touching up Lamont Roach big time. So Lamont Roach beats him at 130 pounds as a WBA champion. So they decide, you know what? He's from that DMV area. It's a Maryland versus DC thing, Baltimore versus DC kind of rivalry. Tank has, I think, fought him twice in the amateurs, beat him both times. So there, for me, if the whole thing is to have Tank fight somebody in a kind of hometown rivalry, why not have the fight in Virginia or DC or Baltimore? Why not have the fight over there? Why have it in Houston? So it really, to me, it really doesn't make sense. But if you're trying to sell this to us as, you know what, it's not really a hometown rivalry, but this guy Roach, Tank is really a 130 pounder, but Tank is fighting at 135. So when you look at what's out there at 135, the only available guy, there really wasn't any of the big name fighters available. So we went with what we thought was the opponent who can provide the biggest challenge to Tank. So we go down a weight division to 130, and we see that Lamont Roach just happens to be the guy Tank fought twice in the amateurs, little hometown rivalry, and he's a WBA champion. Tank's a WBA champion at 135, so they make the fight. But I'm going to tell you, Tank Davis is proven to be, in my opinion, a fighter who fans are getting tired of. Now, what I'm seeing is that fans believe Gervonta Tank Davis would beat everybody at 135 pounds. They believe Gervonta Davis is that good and can be that dominant. But they are tired of seeing him come now and fight opponents where it's not really what they want. Now, I'm pulling something up here. I want to show y'all something, right? It's running slow. Here it goes, right? Let me show y'all something here. Okay, this is Gervonta Davis right here. He's a champion at 135. Now, when you go down, a lot of people would prefer for Gervonta to fight Shakir Stevenson, Lomachenko for the IBF strap, or Dennis Baranchek, or even to fight Zepeda. But we know Zepeda seems like he's about to fight, so he had things going on. Shakir Stevenson is injured, so he has things going on. Lomachenko and Tank sound like Lomachenko wanted to take time off to spend with his family, and Baranchek didn't seem to be an option for Gervonta Davis. So now, in my opinion, when I'm watching this and I'm listening to the fans, it seemed like they could understand him not fighting Zepeda because Zepeda has other things going on. Floyd Schofield. Fans don't want to see that. But Floyd Schofield's ranked number 2 at 135. But some fans are saying, hey, he might as well have fought Floyd Schofield, who's ranked number 2 at 135, instead of picking a fight with the smaller Lamont Roach. Then they're like, okay, Floyd Schofield, that's not really a big name, a good fight. We don't want to see that. We don't really want to see Lamont Roach either. So then De Los Santos. But De Los Santos was out with an injury. So they're like, okay, not De Los Santos, but then Andy Cruz. But people are scoffing at Andy Cruz's record of being of 4 wins, only 4 fights with 4 wins. Then they're like, okay, we'll go down past Andy Cruz to the number 5 ranked opponent, Gary Cully. No one knows who the hell that is. The number 6 is Fradamil Makayo. 7 is Zahir Abdullayev. Number 8, Frank Martin. That's who Tank already fought and knocked out. And then you look after that as a Lucas Body, Ruben Nestor Neri, Gabe Flores, Yosdiel Napoles, Roger Gutierrez, Nicholas Walters. People, look at those names. There's nothing there for Tank Davis to fight, man. The guys who he could fight, they all seem to have an excuse. You know what I'm saying? To not get in the ring with anyone. And for the guys who are available, those are guys that Tank, I mean, he would just get, shot in the foot for taking those fights. Who wants to see Tank fight Andy Cruz? I think that's a good fight. But nobody they would look at Tank like he was crazy. They gave Terrence Crawford the business of fighting Majumov, and Majumov is a real problem. But because of his record, even to this day, some people feel like Majumov was a tomato can or a bum because he didn't have 25, 30 fights. So Andy Cruz is a super technical, amazing fighter. But Tank definitely not getting no credit for fighting him. So when you look at what's available, Lamont Roach is kind of the best choice. And it's unfortunate that the fight with Lomachenko fell through. But there are still a lot of people who felt that that was another fight where Tank was cherry picking. But the bottom line is, this is what people need to understand. Tank brings a lot of money. He is one of the cash cows in boxing. You fight Gervonta Davis, you're going to probably make the biggest payday of your life. He's not quite on Canelo Alvarez level, but Tank is going that direction. Matter of fact, when you start talking about pay-per-view draws, Canelo and Tank over here stateside. Now, outside the States, in the UK, things get a little bit different. You still get Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and you got some other guys who are making noise. Chris Eubank Jr. is a huge pay-per-view attraction in the UK. They have other guys who are performing when it comes to pay-per-view numbers. But as far as the States, the two names that, are really just out there in your face when it comes to doing big numbers, live gates, everything. They are Canelo Alvarez and Gervonta Davis. So understand when you see Tank kind of being able, not quite on Canelo's level yet, but he's going that way, where he gets to pick and choose the opponents he wants to fight. Understand, he's going to be allowed to do that. You know why? Because of the money he brings. And when he's ready to fight for unification, or if he chooses to go for undisputed at 135, he's going to be able to pick and choose when he fights those guys, and it's going to be on his terms. Because as the longer Tank goes, fighting and winning, the more people are going to continue to support him. They may complain, they may get a little bit of rumblings here and there that, hey, he ain't fighting nobody. But as long as he keeps knocking people out, people are going to continue to jump on the Gervonta Davis bandwagon. Because not one person out here is saying Tank can't fight. Everybody says, it's pretty consistent, the opinion about Tank. He can fight. He can hit. He can box. I think it's like an 80-20 split. 80% of people feel Tank gives fighters rounds. The other 20 feel fighters take rounds from Tank. I don't. I think the first few rounds, Tank just decides what he wants to give you and what he doesn't. When people say, oh, well, he decides to pour it on later, but he's managing his stamina. That's bullshit. You'll hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. He's not managing his stamina. What he's doing is what he wants to do. And I think when he gets in the ring with Lamont Roach, Tank is just going to pick up where he left off from his last fight with Frank Martin, and he's going to do what he wants to do. Lamont Roach running around here with a 40% KO ratio. That's at 130. He already lost to Tank twice. Who do you think is going to have the confidence coming into the fight? Who you see in every highlight is them tranquilizing somebody. It's Gervonta Davis, and you can't tell me, no matter how much Lamont Roach huffs and puffs, that he's not concerned about getting in that ring with Tank Davis. Because Tank is going to tranquilize him. Nevertheless, you talk about fighters being inactive. You never know when those barnacles of inactivity are going to be impossible to pry off through a training camp. Normally with a training camp, whatever little rust you have on you, they're able to knock that off during training camp. But sometimes those little inactivity barnacles are clinging to you and have kind of embedded themselves in your flesh. So when you're trying to pry that shit off you, it is not easy. And it can weigh you down. Secret societies are full effect here, people. Don't continue to complain about Gervonta Davis and wanting to see him do something that's a stark contrast of what you used to seeing him do. And I don't disagree with him. I do think that, you know what, if you're going to fight a Lamont Roach, if you're going to fight, Frank Martin was a good fight. But if you're going to come out here and fight a guy like Floyd Schofield and Lucas Body and some of these Abduliev, right? If you're going to fight some of those names, I call those filler fights, right? Take 3 filler fights and give us a big fight. 3 more filler fights, give us a big fight. But he's doing what he's been taught. And this is what I don't really agree. Of course, I like to see him fight Shakir. I like to see him fight Lomachenko, Baranchek. I like to see him fight Davis. Keyshawn Davis. I like to see him fight all those dudes. But what he's doing is what he's been taught to do, which is put money in your bank account against the least risk fighters. And that's what he's doing. Now, don't get me wrong, Lamont Roach is not a tomato can. He's a champion. He's just at 130, but really Tank's a 130-pound fighter. But he's not what people want to see because no one really knows him. But don't expect to see anything different. I fully anticipate most boxing fans' frustration snowballing as Tank continues in his boxing career. Because he don't care about making y'all happy. He doesn't care. Tank's going to pick and choose the right opponents for him to shine. The sad thing is I truly believe he beats all these guys. I really do. I really do think he beats everyone. Don't be surprised if his next fight is George Kambosos. Tank's going to go where the money's at. Now, Kambosos ain't ranked by the WBA. But you watch how that works. Kambosos is training right now for a return fight. If Kambosos can come back, get a big win. Don't be any because Kambosos will fight anybody. Kambosos just doesn't care. He's Australia's Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? He don't give a shit. I need to do a video on that. Lose, win, lose. He don't care. He's coming to scrap. But don't be surprised if Tank fights him next, man. I want to see Tank fight Shakir, Zepeda, Baranchek, Lomachenko. I'd like to see him go ahead and sweep the 135-pound division. But I would not be surprised if Tank takes it to the stupid and pisses a bunch of people off and comes out here and fights goddamn George Kambosos. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Gervonta Davis is going to keep getting paid. Secret Society is going to let him do what he wants. And it's only gonna get worse. You know why? Because he's the cash cow. He's the dollar bill, y'all, Wu-Tang cream. And when you have that guy or gal who's bringing real money to the sport, they don't really bother them. These sanctioned bodies don't bother them. Them key decision makers don't bother them. They give them what they want. You better believe it. They give them what they want. Because it's all about prize fighting. It's all about money. And they're not going to come now and force a stupid fight on the cash cow that could be a risk to the cash cow's money earning potential. Good example, Canelo. Look at Canelo. Don't get me wrong, I give Canelo credit for fighting Munguia. I give him credit for fighting Berlanga. But you see that Canelo went up there chasing greatness, messing with Bivol, kill that noise, keep talking about possibly rematching Bivol, waiting to see who wins, to fight the winner of Berthabia Bivol. Them guys shot that shit down. They're like, that's just, he's all talk, no action. Canelo ain't doing that shit. Y'all really think Canelo gonna go fight some goddamn Berthabia or Bivol again? He ain't doing that shit. But the secret society is like, okay, look, Canelo, you took it to the stupid. Now look here, Guadalajara, Jalisco's finest. We need you to hold your horses easy and keep selling out venues, making this money for all of us. That being said, whatever you want to do, as long as you don't go messing around poking them goddamn bears at 175, you just keep coming out here whipping everybody's ass because Canelo's going to keep getting support. And I think the same thing for Gervonta Davis. He's getting to a point to where they're going to say, hey, you just keep whipping everybody's ass you contract a fight with and keep bringing that money. And Tank ain't stupid. He's making real dough. Mad fighting on Amazon Prime pay-per-view, man. My understanding is the fighters get paid all their pay-per-view money up front. That's one of the advantages of fighting on Amazon Prime. They don't get the money up front for that. Tank is supposed to be, I think in his last 2 fights of the contract, supposed to fight on Netflix. Something that I heard somebody say, something about a rumor about Tank and Netflix and Canelo and possibly going to Netflix. But, you know, it's some rumblings out there about a Netflix deal. And Tank having, I think, his last 1 or 2 fights on there. But the beauty of it is they get paid up front. So they don't have to wait for pay-per-view, the back-end money. They get all that shit up front. And if that's the case, I'm telling you, y'all can forget about it. Because Tank is pay-per-view, man. And if this whole thing comes to fruition, all the rumors I'm hearing about this Netflix deal, it's over. Turk LC can do what the hell he wants, you know, in other countries with the $20 pay-per-view price point. That shit ain't going to affect anything going on with Gervonta Davis, PBC, and Canelo. Because let me tell you one thing about Canelo. He and Tank are friends. You can't make me believe they don't talk. But Canelo is not loyal to Eddie Hearn. Canelo's loyal to Canelo. Canelo's loyal to getting paid. But Canelo put a lot of work in. Look at all the champions he beat. It doesn't matter about rehydration clauses and catch weights. Canelo earned the right to pick and choose what he wants to do. He's an extreme case of it, of somebody who's kind of, you know, taking advantage of his position. But hey, he earned it. Gervonta Davis is kind of pick and choosing who he wants, but he hasn't quite put the work in like Canelo. But it's not that he can't. He just hasn't. But I'm going to sit back and see how all this plays out, because I really think Gervonta Davis is the next one. And I think fans are going to keep being excited when they watch him fight, because he's going to knock people out. But outside of that, you know, in the downtime in between his fights, they're going to be frustrated as hell, because it's like, all right, he ain't fighting the people we want him to fight. But once he gets in the ring, people are excited because they know what he does. But they want to see him do it to those, you know, Lomachenko, Baranchek, Shakir Stevenson, Zepedas, Keyshawn Davis. They want to see him fighting a Shaqy Foster. They might want to see him, in a dream fight. Maybe you can squeeze down to 130 and Inoue come up and you fight Inoue. Like, they want to see that kind of shit. They want to see that. But trust me, I don't think Tank's going to do it. He's going to really get crazy with the picking and choosing, especially if he becomes undisputed at 135. If he does that, then he's going to be like, all right, I gave you what you want. I fought 3 champions. I picked up the belts. And now I'm out here doing what I want, just like Canelo. And I think more fighters are going to do that too, man. If they're allowed to get away with it, they're going to do it. But bottom line is, man, I think they should get their money. But, like, again, take 2-3 filler fights and give us the big fight. 2-3 filler fights, give us the big fight. Don't take 8, 9, 10 filler fights and shit. I understand, but I don't quite agree with it. But I do agree 100% with just getting your money. Get your money. Anyway, keep cool. Gervonta Davis is the new Canelo, and it ain't gonna get any better, people, as far as the opponents he's fighting in the breeze.